Do you want to be part of something bigger than yourself? Immerse yourself in big questions. Take hold of great challenges. At Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, we're working on some of the biggest questions that push the frontiers of science and knowledge. Questions found at the smallest scales. Questions that span the scope of the planet and even the universe itself. We've taken on the challenge of making the nation's energy systems more resilient, more secure. We're helping to protect the nation from determined adversaries, protecting those who protect all of us. At PNNL, you will be a part of something bigger than yourself. It's a place where your work can make lives better, the earth cleaner, and our nation more secure. It's a creative environment that spurs you to follow your passion, ask your own questions, choose your own adventure, and collaborate with our world-class researchers and with our partners at top universities, companies, and laboratories around the world. To work at PNNL is to see the necessity of diverse perspectives, since tackling great challenges demands the creativity and courage of bold new ideas. We know that diverse perspectives live and thrive in a diverse staff. We celebrate diversity and inclusion as signature strengths. And that celebration of inclusion extends to the Pacific Northwest community PNNL calls home, through the thousands of hours our staff volunteer each year, through our commitment to the education of future generations of researchers, engineers, and professionals, and our partnerships with local businesses and professional associations. We are dreamers and doers, a place where great minds come together, not just to imagine a safer, cleaner, more prosperous world, but to bring it closer. Come see what happens when great minds meet great challenges.
Okay, welcome to Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. My name is Fred Bond. If I could get everybody from PNNL to kind of go crazy on their cameras real quick so everybody knows who they are, just kind of wave and everything. So we have a number of people. We have technical staff. We have folks on our Office of STEM Education team. Everybody here to kind of tell you what we do and why we're here. So I'll just take it away. So. So the Department of Energy has 17 national laboratories across the nation. We're one of the 17 under the Office of Science. So in the slide there, you'll see a bunch of red markers. Those are the Office of Science laboratories. That just means they're a multi-program laboratory. They've got more than one core set of mission areas. The blue ones have more of a narrow focus. Nettles, NETL, you'll see a number of those on the map. Those are energy technology laboratories. Sandia, Livermore, Los Alamos, those are considered our NNSA or weapons labs that they fall under a different department within the Department of Energy. So that's kind of where we're at. Next slide, please. And as we're talking through this, we're going to be dropping links in the chat. So go ahead and play with those if you want as we're talking. So PNNL has these four main mission areas. Scientific discovery, doing science for the sake of science, and that's in form of two different research directorates, the Earth and Biological Sciences and the Physical and Computational Sciences. And then we have the Energy Independence and Environmental Management, which is under our Energy and Environment Directorate. And then we have the National Security, which is everything else, and the directorate is called the National Security Directorate. Okay, next slide, please. So here, Washington State. So Pacific Northwest National Laboratory is located in Washington State primarily, even though with COVID, we have folks kind of littered around the US because, remote is kind of a thing that we're looking at here. But Richland, Washington is where our main campus is. That's where about 90% of the research happens. We have a Seattle office, a SQUIM office. The SQUIM office is actually the only Department of Energy Marine Science laboratory. So that's pretty unique to us. We have a research facility in Portland, Oregon, as well as in the DC area. We have a Joint Climate Change Institute at the University of Maryland and a number of other appointments throughout the DC area. And as you can see, 5,500 or 5,000 employees here at the PNNL, operating budget of about $1 billion That's pretty huge. And if you want to tour the campus, you go ahead and use your phone and go to the QR there. You can actually do a virtual tour of the campus. It's also in the chat. Next slide, please. And if I could have Romy and Emiliano tackle this, take it away.
Hey, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. Hi, thank you everyone and welcome to our session. We're so excited to have you here today. I am Romy Morales, one of the co-chairs for one of our employee resource groups. And I wanted to share a little bit about what the diversity and inclusion looks like here at the lab. Before I do that, I wanted to share the kind of quote our lab director's message, Steve Ashby. Here at PNNL, we are committed to fostering a work of environment that fully embraces and values diversity and inclusion and equity. And then by doing so, we benefit from a breadth of different perspectives, insights, and experiences that enable the innovation and creativity that one expects from the Department of Energy National Laboratories. So with that said, I kind of wanted to share on this page some of the diversity and inclusion goals that we have here at the laboratory. We wanted to be able to create a culture free of discrimination and harassment, which allows us to have all our voices be heard and to contribute to the mission of not only the laboratory, but the Department of Energy itself. And we want to be able to establish an integrated lab-wide strategy, which runs throughout the organization at all the different levels and defines expectations about how we work together to push those ideas forward. We manage and have a staff accountability to make sure that we are able to produce the best products and innovation that we do here. And then we want to be able to reward and celebrate inclusion and equity across the laboratory. And last but not least, one of our main goals is to promote a healthy discourse and increase the understanding and education of the value that being culturally diverse brings to the table. If we can go to the next slide, please. So part of this is to be able to encourage this inclusion mechanism, and this is why we have the different ERG groups, which are the employee resource groups, that offers a professional and educational and social activities that provides that culturally diverse and collaborative effort that I mentioned before. And the groups do host events, speakers. We do connect with the community like we're doing today with you guys, and we share the different resources and spaces that we have available at the laboratory. With our particular ERG, I'm very excited about it. We are the Latinx ERG, the Hispanic Outreach for Leadership and Advancement. Our primary vision, I know you can read what we have there on the slide, but I wanted to share that OLA is one of the employee resource groups here at PNNL, and part of the diversity and inclusion mission is to educate. We want to be able to leverage different relationships and being agents of change that do lead to the equity and egalitarian workplace here at PNNL. And as to do that vision, right, we have to execute our mission. And so we want to be able to promote that cultural awareness in the workplace and give the Latinx community be able to attract, develop, retain, and promote our advancement within PNNL, and to be able to create a supported environment that is so needed to all our different members and empower them and encourage them, all those different diverse voices, to contribute to succeed and provide that success that PNNL thrives on by producing the best products and executing the different products as well. So thank you so much. We can go to the next slide. And then I think Fred can take it over from there.
All right. Thank you for that. So
Yes.
initially we were going to do some breakout sessions, but I think we're going to do this a little differently. We're going to make it a little bit more intimate. So if you can go ahead and just go to the next slide real quick, we're going to skip the breakout sessions. So these are the participants that you have here at PNNL. So I was wondering if we could get, actually, before I have them introduce themselves and talk a little bit about themselves, if I can get the participants, the student participants that are online with us right now, if you could just, if you're available to turn on your camera, that'd be awesome. And throughout, while they're talking about, about their path to PNNL, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'd be happy to answer those as they're coming in. Okay. All right. Not everybody's jumping at that request to turn on the cameras, are they? Bruce, you're my man. Awesome. Okay. So if I could just go ahead and have Romy take it away first, if you could just kind of talk a little bit about yourself and, your path and yeah, your take on it.
Okay, I'm going to keep it short because I know that there's some amazing stories coming up after mine. Romy Morales Rosado. I am currently a manager / scientist in data science, and my background is in applied math. My background is, oh my God, I hit myself against the wall so many times that my background is in applied mathematics. I was able to finish my PhD on it, and my trajectory was a little bit troubled. So I can expand on that later on, but I kind of want to yield my time to the following folks to talk a little bit more about themselves, if that's okay.
Definitely. Thank you. Emiliana, give you just a brief introduction of yourself.
Yes. Hola, chicos. Hey, guys. How you guys doing? My name is Emiliano Santiago. I'm an electrical engineer at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. I design, build, test, analyze circuits for a wide range of applications. Been there for 21 years. Wow. Next month's going to be 21 years. Wow. It has gone fast. My experience has taken me to work with different radiation detectors, wireless, electronic tags, several acoustic sensors, such as accelerometers, humidity sensors, temperature sensors, and other electronics, analog, digital design. So most of the electronics has been involved with in that area and developed, executed, tested, and applied. And so yeah, it's been a fun career at the lab. So I guess I can share a little bit more of my background as we go along this meeting. So that's me.
Great, thank you. Sonia, could you introduce yourself, please? Looks like you're still muted. There you go.
Can you hear me now? Okay, hi, I'm Sonia Alcantar, Anguiano, although Anguiano is missing. So I'm a chemist by title here at the lab. This is my second year as a chemist. I was a post-bachelor's research associate prior to this. And before that, I was an intern, which hopefully you will become. I'm a biologist by education, but chemist by experience and the work that I've been doing. Yeah, so if you have questions after that, I'm happy to expand. But that's me right now.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Yolanda. Oh, we can't hear you.
We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Hi, everyone. My name is Yolanda Olivera. I have a little bit of a different background. I come from a background of legal and research. So I was a paralegal for 16 years, and now I'm at the lab, and I came on board as a support staff, as an admin, and I transitioned on to become a research analyst. And my background, well, my educational background is I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. So that's a little bit different. It's not quite STEM related, but I am definitely working to contribute in my way, and I'll definitely expand on that.
Perfect. All right, thank you. And I'll go ahead, and then after me, I'll ask Nancy Rowe and Juan Lopez to just go ahead and a brief introduction as well. So my name is Fred Bond, University Recruiter here at Pina. I've been here for about 15 years. Actually, my manager just told me that I hit my 15-year mark yesterday. So yay, 15 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've been a University Recruiter for about, I think, 6 of those years. From there, I've worked on projects in the national security space. I've also worked in contracts. I came straight out of the military. This was my first job out of the military, and I can't see myself going anywhere else. Yeah, it's just there's so many things going on here that you're never bored, and then you get to meet awesome people like this, right? So, all right, Nancy, could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Nancy Rowe, and I am the Community College Internship Program Manager. So, and that is with our workforce development for teachers and scientists, DOE Office of Science program. I know that was like a whole mouthful there, but really the important thing is that I work with the community college interns, and I'm always looking for new interns. So I'm really hoping that some of you, or if not some, but all of you will go ahead and be applying for an internship this fall, winter, spring, or summer. So I'll be telling you a little more about that though. Welcome.
Thank you. Juan, take it away.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So my name is Juan Lopez. Welcome, everyone. I am a STEM education consultant. So I work closely with Nancy. I primarily work with interns within CCI program and SULI. And my job is to make sure that that interns have the tools and resources to be successful at Pina. So nice meeting everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so I guess I'll ask a question to the panelists. So, so would you mind just kind of sharing what your path to Pina was? So, you know, maybe what you studied and kind of what you're doing here, and then, you know, kind of fill in the gaps in between. Like, how did you get here to Pina? Was there an internship available, and how did you get that? I mean, you can answer that any way you want. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, Sonia, you want to go?
Too many people. Let's hear Sonia first. Sonia, take it away.
Yeah, I go. So I was in undergrad. So I was studying biology and chemistry, and my goal was to go into med school. Not happening. So while I was doing the med school path, I got involved in research that was not medical related at all. So that's when the love for research started. So I was involved with soil research at that point, and it was just figuring out carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus amounts in the soil before and after you grew crops. For me, it was kale and lettuce. Super fun. It was a great summer. Got to meet lots of farmers in the area. I'm from Georgia, by the way. So this was all happening in Georgia. And then that happened, and I just wanted more, like, it didn't have to be that same thing, but I just wanted a little bit of more research. Like, give me something that I can learn that I'm not learning in class, or that I can put to use what I've learned in class, like a microscope. Like, what can I look underneath that thing that's not class related? So then I moved over to doing research with wasps. In this case, it was the Capitosoma floridanum, which looks at their polyembryonic stages and looking at during what stages during their development do different genes express, and if they do they stay on or do they turn off? And this was more like med related, and then I started looking into like, okay, maybe I could just go to med school and focus on research, not really treating patients. But I really liked having people around. I can do fine by myself, but just for so long, you know, sometimes you need that human interaction. And so I got to the point where I was graduating, and I had not taken the traditional path of like, you take the MCAT your junior year so that you can apply med school. Okay, you have at least one that you got into, you go, or you start, I don't know, a scribing job at the hospital or some type of other job that kind of gives you the experience that helps you get into med school. I didn't do that. I was research, like, this is my life. So because I didn't do that, my friends that had done other research at school, they were all talking about SULI, so like the SULI internship, which is the one for a 4-year college instead of the community college. And so they were like, what do you have to lose? We can apply and choose the same labs, and hopefully we end up together. So at least you have one friendly face. In this case, I was like, I hope I get both of you. And so I applied. I had nothing to lose. For my parents, they didn't want me to go, but I was like, if I get in, I'm gonna go. I just needed that break. Being a Hispanic, specifically a Mexican, you stay in the house until you get married, and I just wanted to go. And since my mom is very supportive of education, I was like, Mommy, please, like, if I get it, like, please help me out. In this case, convincing my dad to like let me go. She was like, Mija, if this is for education, like, si te lo dan, just go. And so it happened. Yes. So for me, I chose Los Alamos. as my first choice and Pina as my second choice. I know it was all about the algae, all about the algae and the research with the fuel, and I didn't get it. I didn't get chosen for that. I got chosen up here, and I talked with one of the, or when I interviewed, I didn't even like, I mean, I interviewed different researchers at the lab, and the one person or the one scientist that ended up interviewing me, I had not even like thought about, because I wanted something different. And so I ended up interviewing with a scientist that was doing the similar research to the soil research that I had done. And thinking about it, I don't know, it just felt right. Sometimes I go along my feelings, like it felt right, especially after talking with her and talking with her team. So two of my friends, you know, they ended up in Los Alamos. It's fine, you know, no hard feelings. I'm happy here. And so I ended up doing the soil research with that group of scientists for a whole spring semester. And then she wanted me to stay for the summer. And I got asked by Nicole and Nicole Castilla Bentley. She asked me if I wanted to stay with the same PI or if I wanted something new. But I really liked, at that point, I was really into that like research style and what they were doing. So I stayed with them for the whole, however many, seven months doing research with them. And it was great. I got to meet a lot of students from everywhere. So this was me being a butterfly. Like I just got to meet a lot of people and we had a lot of fun, and it was just a really awesome experience. It was so awesome that I wanted to stay.
How was the
So
mentorship, Sonia?
So actually I hated my mentorship. So I loved the research. I hated the mentorship because I didn't have one. Or like most of the time, you have the mentor, which is the main scientist, and sometimes they'll designate like a one person that you're gonna be guided by, the whole mentoring thing, like ask questions, they'll give you answers, they're gonna train you. And that was not there for me. So the post-bachelor research associate that was in their group at that point kind of took me under her wing, and she was the one that guided me without being asked, without being kind of like told, like this new person is under your wing. Like she just took me and she trained me in everything. The only times that I talked with my mentor were 2 times. It was when I first got here and when she asked me how things were doing, like towards the end of that first term. And then for the second one, I would just like communicate through email because there was no like face-to-face. It was, and that's not the case with like all of the other mentors that I've had throughout it. My 2 years after that were amazing. Like I didn't have just one mentor, like I had like 4 mentors, and it was on a daily like talk about like they just don't care about like what you're learning. They care about their like what are you thinking about your career goals. They care about like how are you doing personally, like, you know, is there anything that we can do to help you out, to guide you. Like it was so like, I don't know, it was such a great experience that they became not just like mentors and friends, but like they're like my second dads, like the parents that I don't have here, like just bombarding me with like, this is what you should do. Like, this is who they are to me here. So like, they just guided me through everything. And, you know, I've made some big decisions in my life because of their guidance, because of their respect that they've given me, because of their support that they've given me. That like, I went back to like wanting to do medical school, and I gave that a try. That's how I went back to college for more classes. I took up a job at the hospital, and it was through their constant just question, like, how's it going? Like, how's the work? How are you doing here? How's life? Like, how are you? are you just surviving? And that's how I've made it this far. It's because of them, their support. And granted, the Sully experience for me was not, the mentoring was not awesome in that research space. I had great other people in my life at that point, like Nicole, who was the one who led the SULI, like she was very constant in my life at that point, and the friends that I made. Like, granted, my mentor at that point wasn't awesome, but like theirs were, and I was right there with them, and so I got that from them too.
Yeah, if I can interject
yeah.
real quick, Sonia. So I'll just to provide some background. We have leads and also from the community college internships, we have Nancy Rowe here that they really make sure that you're taken care of. And if you had a situation similar to what Sonia was explaining, that perhaps the mentor is not necessarily there for her, they identify other individuals to kind of pick it up and be like, hey, we're going to turn this around because we want to make sure that you get the best experience and the best connection moving forward. Because PNNL is one of the laboratories that is all about engaging with the student, the next generation of scientists. And that's what we want to make sure that we do. And that's why when Sonia is speaking, and she's being brutally honest with all of you on her background, she's actually saying, hey, we had some hiccups, but the other staff picked it up so well that I came back and I stayed. And some of the decisions that I have and the person that you are today is grateful in a way, right? To the engagements that we set up, because we are really on the caring business, and we are in the business of, hey, we understand that you guys are the next generation of moving the science forward, and we want to make sure that we're there to take you all the step of the way, regardless if perhaps if there's not an automatic fit at the very beginning, we'll make sure that we finish it with a nice little bow at the end. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that piece, because I think Sonia said it brilliantly with her her experience.
So it turns out it was the first time having a student intern. So they didn't know how to deal with it. It was a learning experience, and they did better the second time around because, like you said, they designated someone else to co-mentor, and it was great for the ones coming after. And again, like you can see it because they stay. You know, like if you just didn't like it, or if something just really didn't make it a great experience, like why stay? You know, why? Not that you won't struggle. Like there's a little bit of struggle everywhere. It's learning, but like if you are not thriving, like there's no reason for, like there are other opportunities. But yeah, it worked out.
Yes, you're here. I wanted to ask Fred, how are we doing on time? In case if you wanted to capture other folks as well.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so so the next questions that we answer, or we ask, we're gonna ask you maybe if you can give a short, maybe like 2 to 3 minute kind of response at a maximum. But also before we get going and we tap some of the panelists, I want to make sure that the participants are kind of engaged a little bit. If you have a like your major or what you're interested in, go ahead and drop that in the chat. That will help kind of drive some of our conversation. Okay. So just go ahead and
we have a question in the chat. We do have a question in the chat, and would you mind unmuting yourself and sharing your question?
Yeah. So essentially, hello. I am a biochem major, and my question was specifically for PNNL. Is there a requirement for applying to these internships, or is it open to anyone?
That's a good question, and we have a couple following slides after some of our discussion here. We're going to type it to where to go to apply and some of the requirements for our opportunities. So good question, very good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Again, so if you have a major, maybe when you're graduating and kind of what you're interested in, drop it in the chat. And that helps us drive our conversation. Awesome. So one of the next questions is, so can anybody on the panel tell me about a cool project that they worked on? And one of their something that you worked with students on. Give me an example of that. They're always fun.
I'll jump in on this one. I'll keep my 2-minute mark. I'll do my best on that one. Okay. Cool project that I worked on when I was an intern as well. That's how I got exposed to PNNL. And the mentorship was just like top of the line all the way. So I had a great experience there when I met my mentor a couple of years back when I was an undergrad, and we have been friends since then. So that the engagement was great as well. Since my background is in math and applied statistics, a lot of the projects are very interdisciplinary. So one of the cool projects that I had the opportunity to work with is like I guess phishing, when somebody like kind of sends you a message on email and say like, hey, how about you like sign up and we'll give you $100 gift card or whatever and give us your information. So that's it's one of the tricks I guess people use to try to get everything they know and want about you. So that was one of the cool projects because we were trying to understand what is the social and psychological aspects that might make you in a particular day say, oh, you know what, whatever, let me just click in and write my information in, versus being a little bit more careful. So that was a pretty cool project that I had the opportunity to work with. I was, in love with the idea because I have seen it before and my parents sometimes, get curious. So I was just like, if I can learn a little bit more about this, that would be phenomenal. And now, because I know how important internships are, and I valued my experience, and I truly believe on paying it forward type of thing. I love having students come in to work with me all the summers, or if I can have them throughout the year, I have them all the time. So I do try to bring students to work on the different projects that I have. And I engage them, and we make sure that they get connected not only to me as mentor, but also to other staff members. And then if they get curious for a project that may not be what I'm working on or what we're working on, I make sure that I get them connected so that way they can have a follow-up internship, right? And then kind of make that bridge to get them closer to other things and explore, right? Because that's what internships are all about. You're exploring a potential career path, see if you enjoy it, but then there's so many opportunities that you will see if you come here at PNNL, because we're so interdisciplinary, that you will get connected to other opportunities as well as soon as you make it here. And folks like Fred Bond and Nancy Rowe and Juan, they do make sure that you get connected to those opportunities, as well as people like us that belong to different ERGs. We make sure that we get you connected, and we get, if you are bilingual, multilingual, and you need to find out where are the nice hookups to go to within our own community, we got you there. And even like we connect you to other folks as well. So I think I'm going to yield my time because I passed perhaps the 2-minute mark.
You
but
hit 3.
I hit 3. I knew I was off.
Nice,
But
nice.
here I am yielding my time.
I'm
Thank you
gonna
so
stick
much
with
for listening.
So I wanted to go
Awesome.
ahead.
No,
Sorry,
yeah,
I just wanted to just really quickly go ahead, Red. Go ahead, Red. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I was gonna stick with that question, and I was gonna ask another person to go ahead and chime in on the favorite project. It's something that they worked on with students.
Right. So on my end, a little bit different, because at the time when I was working primarily with students, was in the admin position. So after SULI students would come and they were accepted to work with us at PNNL, I loved engaging with them. I was a lead admin for the group. Some of the experiences, obviously, with Sonia, whom I met and I adopted as my pseudo child, was very important to me, because I wanted to ensure that the communication was there. I wanted to know everything about you, where you were coming from. I wanted to make sure that you had all your your needs set, and where you were living and what you're needing in terms of, do you have food? Do you have transportation? I wanted to make sure that you were all set as well, because I'm a big mama bear in that regard as well. But I wanted to make sure that you were set and set up to be successful. As the support staff for the group, and those, I was working hard to identify who could also be a good mentor for you and a good peer partner for you. So that was something that was very much a part of what I was doing, and how I wanted to ensure as well your success at the lab. I also wanted to know, okay, so if you're from a foreign country, or your first language is not English, I wanted to hook you up in terms of who you can hang out with. I wanted to introduce you, make sure that you got your connections going, ERGs, employee resource groups, all of that. I wanted to make sure that you were postulated for success. And I had a lot of communication with our SULI program and other programs that we have as well. I think they knew me pretty well from constantly talking to them as well. So yes, I want, in that regard, in the support portion of it, that was very important to me. So that was my part of it.
I love it. I like it. Awesome. I'm going to go to the next question here. So what is your favorite part about working at Pina now? Anybody want to tackle that one? I know
Emiliano
my
hasn't talked.
Emiliano should take it.
yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Fred. My favorite part working at the lab is to be able to mentor others, mentor students. I think that's I enjoy doing that. I've been doing it, for many years now, trying to get different students. The last one I did, it was especially for college students because my passion is for not only university students, but also college students, as yourselves. And because I have a passion for people, students in that area, because I came from a university, a community college. I started out, after high school, joined the military, and then after that, I went to college, got my associate degree in a Blue Mountain Community College here in Oregon. Then applied to the lab as an electronic technician. Started working as an electronic technician for several years, for 9 years. Then decided to go back to school, and I got my bachelor's, and then and later on, decided, what, let's just go on further. And finally, I'm four assignments to complete my master's degree, so I'm pretty excited about that. But my path to the lab, it's not easy. It wasn't easy. It's not easy, but there's always people out there that can help you. People, researchers, mentors, people that can guide you, can instruct you, can advise you. And I think that's one of my favorite parts. And when I get the chance to work with interns, to be able to help them on their technical side, but in other areas as well. I don't necessarily focus on one area, but want to focus on just entire as a whole. So that's very a passion of mine when I working at the lab, to be able to pass on my experience, pass on my understanding of my technical background and as a person to an intern. So that's one of the things I enjoy. Fred?
I like it. And so as Emiliano talked about, so he went back to school and he got a degree, and then he's got another one on the way. PNL has a tuition reimbursement program, so a lot of people utilize that. So that's a pretty cool benefit we get here. Anybody else want to tackle that question there? I
think for me, it's the impact, being able to not only mentor and help others, but also the impact that you're making. The ability, the opportunity to work with world-renowned scientists who are doing innovative experiments, tackling many things that we are experiencing in the world, and just being a part of that. For me, I just always found that to be a far-fetched opportunity, coming from being born here in the Tri-Cities in Washington, which is, the city of Pasco, which at that time, from what I remember, the first time we were a population of about 30,000. And, parents, were from Mexico, first generation. I was, born and raised here. First language is Spanish. So for me, I always found that to be like a very far-fetched dream. And I was able to graduate high school, go on to community college, graduate with my Associate of Arts degree. Life happened, got married, got kids, and then went back to school and got my criminal justice degree. So just being a part of it and engaging and networking and learning and being humble about your beginnings and where you're coming from, and always keeping it real of where you're coming from, but also looking ahead of where you're going and what your goals are, and making those connections to those people that are there to help you, to engage, to push, to go on and go forth. It's an amazing experience to be at the lab, and even more the opportunities that are coming about. So yeah.
Awesome answer. Awesome. So the next question we have is that so this I go to a lot of conferences, a lot of universities, colleges, and I'm always at a booth with career fairs. I always get this question. So what does a day in a life look like in a researcher's role, or an engineer? I mean, what? Give us an idea. Anybody want to take that one?
I will
They
pass
in the
that one
lab.
to Emiliano, since I think we have a mechanical engineer student here
there you
that
go.
I think Bruce already said that. So
Oh, there we
maybe
go.
to give some perspective there,
Yeah, so
you can
so
maybe
for
make a match.
exactly, yeah. No, for engineers, scientists, research, I think it might be similar, but for engineer, bef before COVID, before the pandemic, we would show up at work, 3, 4 in the morning. No, just kidding. You can relax.
Saturday morning.
Unless Emiliano, you're talking to
Saturday and Sunday.
collaborators from the East Coast. The
Yes.
collaborators on the East Coast, then yes, you're having to wake up at 5 in the morning,
Yeah,
10
no,
o'clock your time.
yeah, as a engineer, you get up, or you show up work, you set up your meetings and what you want to do, you plan what tasks you're assigned to do, and what you need to accomplish. Then you go on and you do hands-on. You start designing what the mechanical parts that you need to design. And for example, on my side, I need to accomplish my testing. So I get into the electronic lab, use all my equipments to be able to run that test, to be able to finalize, troubleshoot my design, and be able to apply it and fix it and deliver it. So throughout the days, I get a lot of engineers. We get hands-on. We'll get into the labs. We apply what we learn. Use it and also do field installations and different type of requirements or tasks that you get to assign and doing. So of course, you can also get involved a lot with the planning meetings, with the team meetings, project meetings. You get involved in that. Now, as you increase, as you grow in your career, obviously that some of that task changes. You're not necessarily hands-on, but you're gonna start getting involved a lot of different areas. Writing proposals, get involved with presentation to the client, to the sponsors. Getting more work, doing your own research, throwing out there your own ideas and what you have. Has a lab, has a national lab. There's a lot of opportunities for anybody in that area. So yeah, back to you, Fred.
Wow, that was almost at 2 minutes flat. Perfect.
He gets an A.
You get an A. You get an A. Awesome.
You get an A.
Very cool. Let's see here. So I just want to give a time check real quick. So it's 1:43 Pacific time. So we've got to wrap this up about 1:50 so that we can go into the rest of our presentation, and so you can learn about the internship opportunities. So just let you know that. So the next question is, so what attracted you about the lab? What was it about about Pina specifically that drew you to it? Anybody want to tackle that?
I can take that one.
Awesome.
Oh, Sonia, you want to take it? Okay. So what attracted me to PNNL was primarily the research, the top of the line research that was being done. Like I said, I started as an intern. So as an intern, I did have the opportunity to apply to other internships as well. But when I spoke with my interviewer at the time, the project sounded cool, and he was very engaging, and we did connect it rather quickly. So on top of the fact that it was great science being done, I think the people will kind of go hand in hand there. So it's like a dual answer to the one question. So from that perspective, I was able to do great research, do interdisciplinary research, which is, I think, one of the best things that we do here. I was able to collaborate with people from that were experts in biology, even though I didn't have the background on that area, with physicists. I was the math person, and I guess the programming geek as well. And then I was able to interact with other folks that were the ones that were delivering the messaging, right? And since I was also very curious in terms of how to deliver that message, right? I was empowered a lot, right? And I was mentored a lot from that perspective as well. So the initial attraction was the quality of work. But then when I got here and I saw the high impact of the research and the amazing folks that we have here to connect with, and the different opportunities that will push me forward, that was what kept me. So I think it's like a dual answer to that question, right? So perhaps we should ask it like that in the future, so we have a full connection. But yeah, so that was my experience there. I don't know if I reached the 2 minutes, but I would like Sonia, if you want to share.
That was good. You know, I'm pretty selfish. So as a recruiter, you know, Juan and Nancy, you know, our jobs are to attract and retain students and early career people. So hearing this kind of stuff, this is what we love to hear. You know, this helps us, you know, spread the word and be like, hey, this is why, you know, our researchers are staying and why they're coming. So Sonia, if you could tackle that same question.
I was just going to add that from what Romy said, like, yes. And also this, I mean, I work in the main campus and it feels like school again. So you get to interact with all ages and all groups, like being a chemist. And again, I don't have a chemist, like officially a background, but I work with geologists, I work with biologists, I work with physicists, and it's not just here on campus. Like I've collaborated with other projects where we've worked with scientists in France, scientists in Canada, and it's amazing. Like just meeting like people from all over the world that share your same interest in the research that you're doing, or like a different interest that you didn't know that you could even like it. So yes to what Robbie said, and all of this, like it's just sometimes you do miss that like education part of it, being now that you have like working career. But I think that's something that I enjoy from the Richland campus, that you feel like you're back into that scene, like the college scene. Like you move from building to building, you go to class, meet people that you haven't seen in a while, and it's great. Love it.
That's a good point. Yeah. So on
I have
can
I interject real quick, because when Sonia spoke, one other thing is that the level of respect to what you have to bring on the table is top of the line as well. So you will always feel included when you are presenting your ideas, when you are presenting your projects. You will be, if you present something on the table, even as an intern, like, hey, I have this cool idea, they will empower that as well. So it's not like that chain of command. So like, I'm an intern, I'm just, going to focus only on this. No, they empower you to ask questions, to put things forward. If you have suggestions, they're like, regardless if you are an intern or if you are a chief scientist, which is, or lab fellow, which are like our highest ones here. When we are sharing ideas and we're putting things forward to the benefit of the science and the products in the future, we're all equal from that perspective. And that is something that continue to drives me to this day.
Nice. All right, we have room for one more question, and that question is, so what career advice would you give a student or a recent grad?
Apply to all the opportunities that you see. Apply. Not only to one, sorry that I jumped to that one. Not only to one opportunity, apply to all the opportunities that you might see, even though if you're like, maybe not now, I'm not, no, just apply. Because you never know if you might get the opportunity, first of all, and it's an experience, right? Even going through the application process, it's an experience that gets you through the ranks, right? And also, if you don't get accepted to an opportunity, reach out and learn the why, right? Why didn't I get accepted? What it is that I need to improve on in order to turn it around for the second time around. And that way you're in a better position. They know you're invested, and I will share this with you. I was interviewing or reviewing some candidates for an internship position. I selected one of them. The other one ended up reaching out to me, and he wrote, hey, I think I was highly qualified. If you can explain to me what are the things that I needed to improve on. And I was just like, okay, let me reach out to this guy. have a second look and see if I have the funding to bring him as well. And I talked to him and I was just like, you know what? I think I can expand this and have some wiggle room to bring 2 interns this time around. So just because he took that step and he showed me that he was invested and that he thought that he had everything it took to work on my project, I was just like, you know what? I want people like you. I need people that are invested and want to grow and then want to be mentored to do better. And he did excellent job when he came, and we kept him the second time around. So just be empowered from that perspective, and don't fear. Nothing comes out of fear from that end. Yielding my time once again.
Anybody else want to add something to that?
I would add just real quick, just to be persistent. I think persistent, it has to do with a lot of your success in life. I was persistent to getting my degree, my bachelor degree, master degree. But like I said before, it wasn't easy. It's not easy. But if you persist, you know, you will get there. So you apply, you don't get accepted, apply again, apply somewhere else. You know, be persistent. Be persistent on where you want to go, on what your vision is, and what your goals are.
Yeah, you know, Pina is full of people just like the people on this panel and on this session that are here to help. You know, if you have a question about anything, if it's not our area, we'll hook you up with somebody who, you know, who can talk to you. Okay, that's a good point. All right, so that's all the time we have for question. I mean, for the panelist questions. We'll have to go back to the presentation. So if Beth, if you could go to the next slide, please. So student and university opportunities. So we have internships, fellowships, early career opportunities, which are full-time opportunities, as well as postgraduate. So post-bachelor's, post-master's, post-doc. We have a lot of postdocs if you're seeking a PhD. Joint appointments. Joint appointments are basically staff positions that are both employed at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory as well as a college or university. And then we have university collaborations. You know, sometimes that's in form of, you know, a PI at a principal investigator at a school, bringing in some funding for, say, a National Science Foundation, and then they're looking for a collaborator at a national laboratory to work on that with. So we have those types of opportunities. Next slide, please. So real briefly on that. So to visit these, to take a look at these opportunities, just go to pinanol.gov/careers. If you go to the pinanol.gov page, there's a career button right on the top if you want to click that. If you go there, take a look at our jobs, you can set up a profile. That profile, you can also set up a saved search. So the saved search will ping you every time there's a relevant position that you've indicated you're interested in. So it's a pretty nice feature. Keep in mind, in the coming months, we're going to have a new applicant tracking system. So it's going to be very different looking, but it's going to be very user friendly. It's going to be more communication both ways. It's going to be awesome. So just take a look at that. The URL may change, but you know, it's probably going to be just redirected. So again, all internships, postgraduate, and full-time opportunities are located on our PNL job site, except for the DOE opportunities, which Nancy's going to talk about next. Next slide, please. Take it away.
All right, well, hello. And I have also put in where to apply for the one that Fred just finished talking about. That's in the chat box. And I'm also going to put in the chat box.
Oh, looks like you're muted.
You're muted, Nancy.
I'm sorry, I hit my space bar and that muted me on accident. I thought I just undid it. So, okay, so I just put in the chat box, the one that Fred just got done talking about for PNL. And then now I'm going to talk about the Office of Workforce Development for Teachers and Scientists programs. There are 3 specific programs that I really want to talk about. One is the SULI program, which is a Science Undergraduate Laboratory Internship, and that is for students that are at a university and that are going into a STEM-related degree. The other one that I want to talk about is the community college internship one, and that's the one that I'm the program manager for, and that's really specifically for you, all of you today, because it's Community College Day, and so that's the one that I oversee. And that is for students that are community colleges, and they're also in a STEM technical career field. And then the final one, this is for when you're thinking about your future, and you decide that you're going to do your 2-year degree, you're going to do your bachelor's, and now you're going to go and you're going to do a graduate degree, and that's the Office of Science Graduate Student Research. It's SCGSR. So we just put that out there just so that you guys can be thinking about it as you're working along in your career field. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. So the one that's really near and dear to my heart is the community college. My background is actually, most of my career has been at a community college before I came to PNNL. And so this is where I like to work with. I like to work with students in this area. In this aspect, the community college internship CCI program, it has been set up so that so that people that are going into careers in technical that's relevant to the DOE mission. It provides technical training experiences. You get to work on technologies or instrumentation projects under the guidance of PNNL staff and scientists. How does it work? Yeah, it's a 10-week technical internship, summer, fall, or winter and spring. You can apply for all three, any of those terms. It includes a series of educational enrichment and social activities. So not only do you get to work, but you also have lots of engagement so that you can have that social collaboration and meet some new people. You'll get $600 per week. It's a salary based on a 40-hour week. You also, depending on, so for housing and travel, that depends on where you're located. But if you're going to be traveling to the site, then it would, and it's more than a 15-mile radius from where you normally live, then you would also get a housing stipend, which is $150, or and also a travel reimbursement. The fall applications are now open, and they are due by May 27th. So that's coming up in just a month. So if you're thinking that you want to do a fall internship with PNNL through the Office of Science, then you're going to want to make sure you get that application going. And if you have questions about that, my email is in the box and I can help you with that application. If you go to look at it and find that there's some things you have questions about, please email me. And we can go to the next slide. So the eligibility, so you must be currently enrolled full-time in a community college, complete at least one semester or quarter, depending on the school, at the time that you are applying. You have to have an interest in a STEM career field or computer science. That one is also included. You must be a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident. You have to have a high school diploma or a GED, and your cumulative GPA must be 3.0 or higher. You have to be 18 years old at the start of your internship. So if you're not 18 years old and you're applying, that's okay, as long as you turn 18 when your internship starts at the site. And you must have completed at least 6 credit hours in STEM courses and 12 credit hours towards a degree. And there's also the QR code there too that will take you to how to apply, because it takes you to a different website. Go to the next slide.
All right, great, thank you, Nancy. So the final takeaways, PNNL has internships available year round. Keep in mind that every internship we have is paid, okay? And it's not just, it's not a minimum wage, even though if it were, Washington State's one of the highest minimum wages in the nation. So just saying. So if you're in school or recently graduated, there's always something for you. Sometimes you have folks that aren't STEM majors and they're attending our sessions. We have stuff for you too. We have the business side, finance, operations, you name it, okay? Networking is extremely valuable here at PNNL. So connect with people when you're here on an internship, find them on LinkedIn, connect with them. You never know who you're going to be collaborating with in the future, who you might be working for, or they might be working for you, right? So just definitely networking is huge. One of the myths, U.S. citizens can't apply at the laboratory. So we're a federal facility operated by nonprofits. So that gives us the flexibility to hire anybody. So when you're looking at job positions, if it doesn't say U.S. citizenship is required, then it's open to anybody, okay? And then working at a national laboratory is a great resume builder. I mean, national world impact, put it on your resume as an undergrad, possibly getting publications as an undergrad. That's kind of a big deal in the area of research. Next slide, please. And I think this is just our name. So connect with us, right? So here's all of our contact information, email addresses, LinkedIn's, find us on LinkedIn, ask us questions. If you have interest in a specific area, we don't know anything about it, ask us to hook you up with a contact, okay? with that, does anybody have any questions? Bruce, I know you've got a question. You good? Okay. Does anybody else want to add anything to this? If not, well, we're right at 2 o'clock. I want to thank you for joining us today. All of these links, you should be able to capture those. Oh yeah, good question. So yes, we can go ahead and send out this presentation electronically. So we'll go ahead and PDF these. Everything is open source. You can find it on our website, but we've collected it, and we'll see if we can get this in your hands. Okay. We'd like to thank you for your participation, and please apply. There's a lot of opportunities, paid opportunities for you to work at our laboratory. Okay.
I agree. If nothing else, just go out and apply.
Exactly.
And that's the key message.
Exactly. Do that for yourself. All right. Well, have a good one.